Meanwhile, Joe Biden might be confused and incoherent, but it hasn't stopped him setting up a dystopian, Orwellian new Ministry of Truth, the so-called Disinformation Governance Board, with a czar at the top called Nina Yankovits, who's going to seek out untruths in the public sphere. Welcome to hell. Great to see the land of the free cracking down on freedom of speech and freedom of thought. Misinformation is actually shorthand on the part of the authorities, especially the woke left, who are now in charge of so much these days, for things that they don't agree with. Misinformation is shorthand for anyone that dares to challenge any number of issues like the COVID narrative or hysteria around climate change. Explain to me how it's misinformation to question the colossal damage of lockdowns or ask for any scrap of evidence that they actually worked. How is it misinformation to ask why wearing a filthy rag on our face will stop a virus? How is it misinformation to share actual data about vaccine side effects? How is it misinformation to wonder whether COVID-19 might have come from a lab in Wuhan, given that the laboratory there exists to experiment on viruses? Anyone that still thinks COVID came from a wet market is bats. And how is it misinformation to question the climate catastrophizers who say London will be underwater next Tuesday? When America cracks down on freedom of speech, debate, democracy and freedom of thought, we're all in trouble. Under Biden, this once great nation is no longer the bellwether of human liberty. Soon, Britain will just be an outlier in the world, somewhere where ideas, political, scientific and cultural, can be debated without fear of ridicule, attack, cancellation or being labelled misinformation. Here's hoping it stays that way. All too often, misinformation is quite the opposite. It is a politically charged term designed to shut down debate and criticism of the powers that be and protect dogma and the status quo. From Stalin to Hitler and beyond, so-called dangerous misinformation has been leveraged to silence populations. One man's meat is another man's poison. All too often, history has taught us that what was once labelled misinformation